Hi everyone, my name is Yap Qie, but you can call me Isabella. I am from the 1030 Entrepreneurial Innovation and Ecosystem class by Sri, and this is our assessment 1. The industry that I've chosen is transport, specifically the last mile delivery and logistics startup ecosystem within Victoria, Australia. Every time you order something online, it arrives at your door within hours. You're experiencing the last mile, the most expensive, complex, and innovation-hungry part of the entire supply chain. In Victoria, this segment operates within a $36 billion freight economy, and it's being reshaped by a dynamic entrepreneurial ecosystem. This presentation analyzes the entrepreneurial ecosystem supporting the last mile delivery and logistics startups in Victoria. I'm approaching this as an entrepreneur looking to enter this space, understanding not just the industry but the network of actors, resources, and conditions that enables or constrain innovation within it. The ecosystem consists of last mile delivery startups, logistic technology providers, government agencies, investors, universities, and major retailers who drive demand, all operating within Victoria. I'm excluding traditional transport operators and the broader state economy unless they directly interact with startups' activity. To structure this analysis, I'm using Eisenberg's BEEP framework, which identifies 6 domains: policy, finance, markets, human capital, culture, and supports. This framework centers the entrepreneur's perspective and recognizes that every ecosystem is unique. What makes this ecosystem unique is 4 factors. First, Victoria is Australia's freight capital. The Port of Melbourne handles over a third of national container trade, supported by 260,000 strong workforce. Second, e-commerce demand is structural. Over 9.5 million Australian households shop online, with 68% abandoning carts when delivery seems slow. Third, government support is exceptionally layered, from LaunchVic's venture funds to Arena's fleet electrification grants to the $8 million Freight Sector Innovation Fund. And fourth, the 2024 gig economy reforms create a distinctive regulatory environment that is both a barrier and an opportunity. Here we have the last mile delivery BEEP ecosystem map. Starting with markets. The Australian last mile delivery market was valued at approximately $3.9 billion in 2024, growing at 9 to 6% annually. The competitive field is moderately fragmented, with no single player holding over 40% share, creating significant white space for agile startups. In the policy domain, Victoria has an unusually layered support structure. The Freight Plan 2025-30 includes an $8 million Freight Sector Innovation Fund for operators trialing low-emission technologies, sitting alongside LaunchVic and Arena co-investment. While in finance, Victoria's early-stage funding surges over 50% in a single year to $1.136 billion. However, most venture capital interest gravitates to fintech and health tech, so logistics startups rely more on government grants and corporate partnerships. The core actors are the startups themselves, though. Platform-based models like Sherpa and fleet-based operators like ANC Delivers. Supporting them are enabling actors, LaunchVic, Arena, and universities. On the periphery but hugely influential are incubants like Australia Post and retailers like IKEA who set demand specifications. Applying the VRIO framework, EV fleet capabilities is valuable because it meets retailer ESG demands and reduces costs. It's currently rare because ANC Delivers is one of the only operators with 100 plus electric vehicles. It's moderately inimitable, requiring capital, infrastructure, and expertise, and it's becoming organized through Arena funding. That's a sustained competitive advantage for early movers. Compare that with AI route optimization, valuable but no longer rare since the platforms like Shipsy have commoditized it. That delivers competitive parity, not advantage. The real differentiators here are relationship driven and capital intensive, not purely technological. Let me illustrate the ecosystem's interdependency with a concrete example. ANC Delivers secured $12.8 million from Arena to electrify its fleet through Project Spark. This was enabled by the Victorian Freight Plan, creating the policy environment. The electric trucks serve IKEA, which has committed to 100% zero-emission delivery. IKEA's demand provides stable revenue, making the investment viable, which in turn makes Arena's co-investment lower risk. That's a virtuous cycle across governments, startups, and corporate actors, the kind of synergy that defines a healthy ecosystem. But there are also tensions. The Closing Loopholes Act introduces the Fair Work Commission between platforms and their workforce. This strengthens the human capital domain, improving safety and pay, but increases cost and reduces flexibility that attracts gig workers. When BEEP domains are misaligned, like market flexibility versus regulatory protection, the ecosystem faces stress points that creates both risk and opportunity. The ecosystem's strengths lies not in individual actors, but in the synergy between the infrastructure, policy, and entrepreneurial activity. The most resilient elements are where multiple BEEP domains reinforce each other. The most significant recent development is the Fair Work Legislation Amendment, the Closing Loopholes Act. Effective 26 August 2024, it creates employee-like worker protections for gig economy delivery workers. In November 2025, a landmark agreement between the Transport Workers Union, Uber, and DoorDash established world-leading minimum standards for delivery riders and drivers. This strengthens the human capital domain. Delivery workers previously earned around $12.5 per hour after expenses, well below the $21 minimum wage. Fair pay should improve workforce stability and reduce safety incidents. Victoria Police recorded 917 delivery rider incidents between 2016 to 2022, including 2 deaths. For compliant startups, this creates a new VRIO advantage. Regulatory compliance becomes valuable and increasingly rare. However, closing the $12.5 to $21 pay gap compresses margins for platform startups. Early stage ventures face disproportionate compliances burdens compared to incumbents like Australia Post or DHL, who can absorb costs through scale. There's a genuine risk of premature market consolidation. From a BEEP perspective, the policy domain now directly influences every platform's cost structure. Power has shifted from a market-driven relationship to a regulated one with Fair Work Commission as intermediary. The most consequential challenges over the next 3 years is what I call EV transition gap. The dual pressure to electrify delivery fleets while maintaining commercial viability. This isn't speculative, it's grounded with current conditions. ANC Delivers has surpassed 100 electric vehicles, 12.5% of its fleet, targeting 30% by 2028. IKEA's delivery partners have achieved 60% zero-emission deliveries. The Victorian Freight Plan mandates decarbonization. The new vehicle efficiency standard takes effect 2025. The direction is clear, but the total cost of ownership for electric vehicle trucks still exceeds diesel. And commercial charging infrastructures is severely underdeveloped. For entrepreneurs, this creates a capital cliff. EVs cost more upfront, and early-stage ventures lack the capital or creditworthiness to access EV financing. By applying VRIO, EV fleet's capability is valuable, rare, moderately imitable, and increasingly organized. Startups that navigate this build genuine defensible advantage. For investors, declining EV costs meeting regulatory pressures create a compelling but uncertain window. While for government, the challenge is ensuring decarbonization mandates don't raise barriers to entry and consolidate the market in favor of incumbents. The Freight Innovation Fund helps, but more targeted small operator support is needed to maintain ecosystem diversity. To summarize, Victoria's last mile delivery ecosystem is characterized by strong e-commerce driven demand, an unusually layered government support structure, and an evolving regulatory environment. The BEEP framework shows all 6 domains are active and interdependent. Real analysis reveals that durable competitive advantage come from relationship-driven resources. Retailer partnerships, EV fleet compatibility, not technology alone. The Closing Loopholes Act reshaped power dynamics and EV transition gap, representing both the greatest challenge and opportunities ahead. Ultimately, the success of last mile delivery entrepreneurship in Victoria depends not just on individual innovation, but on how effectively entrepreneurs leverage the ecosystem's interconnected resources and how well policymakers ensure the transition to a sustainable, regulated sector doesn't come at the cost of the ecosystem's dynamicism and diversity. That is all for my presentation. Thank you.